What if Zion didn't just fall off, but helped push himself down? Zion was once seen as the NBA's next chosen one, the next LeBron. But while the world saw a superstar in the making, things were falling apart. From injuries and rumors to a string of off-court distractions, Zion's rise turned into a slow-motion collapse. Not because he lacked talent, but because everything else got in the way. When Zion Williamson entered the NBA, it felt like the league had found its next unstoppable superstar.
With the first pick in the 2019 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson from Duke University.
He was the #1 overall pick in the 2019 draft, a viral sensation from Duke whose explosive dunks and 285-pound frame defied logic. Within minutes of his debut, he dropped 17 straight points in the fourth quarter. Fans lost their minds. Commentators called him a generational talent, and the NBA rushed to crown him the new face of the league. He had the charisma, the physique, and the highlights. Zion wasn't just supposed to succeed, he was supposed to dominate. But what happened next wasn't just disappointing, it was confusing. From injury after injury to weight issues, media pressure, and off-court chaos, Zion's once glowing trajectory spiraled fast. So the question is, how did Zion Williamson go from the league's next big thing to a so-called bust in just a few years? Before injuries and setbacks, Zion Williamson was a viral sensation and generational talent, dominating high school, shining at Duke, and exploding in his NBA debut. He proved unstoppable, even in limited games. Everyone believed that he was the NBA's next big thing, but that future had other plans. But beneath all the jaw-dropping dunks and the viral fame, there was cracks in the foundation, and they started showing early. During his time at Duke, Zion suffered a now infamous injury that felt like a warning shot. In one of the most hyped games of the college season, just 33 seconds in, his Nike shoe exploded, literally tore apart mid-play, causing a knee sprain that sent shockwaves through the sports world. Nike stock even dipped by over $1 billion after the incident. That wasn't just a bad shoe, it was an omen. Still, the NBA came calling, and Zion answered, going first overall to the New Orleans Pelicans. But even before he could suit up for the regular season, his body sent another message: a torn meniscus in his right knee. The season hadn't started, and he was already sidelined. He eventually returned, dazzling in short bursts, but then came the hamstring strains, the back soreness, the mysterious foot issues. Every time he showed flashes of brilliance, something else broke down. It became a cycle: rehab, return, re-injury. What once looked like a freak accident now started forming a pattern, and fans began to wonder, was Zion's body built for the NBA spotlight or built to burn out? The scariest part? These weren't injuries you could just tape up and play through. They were the kind that stick with you, the kind that turn careers into cautionary tales. And yet, the bigger story was still unfolding, because physical setbacks were only part of the collapse. But if injuries were the fire, Zion's weight became the gasoline. As his body broke down, the conversation around Zion shifted from excitement over his talent to obsession over his physique. Game after game, analysis began dissecting his conditioning more than his performance. Was he too heavy? Was he rehabbing? Or just out of shape? Every missed game became another round of finger pointing on ESPN panels and Twitter threads. And the Pelicans noticed too. According to the reports, his contract extension, worth nearly $200 million, came with strict clauses. If Zion's weight and body fat percentage exceeded a certain threshold, his salary could be reduced. That's not just a paycheck issue, that's a trust issue. The team had as many doubts about his durability as the public did. This constant spotlight created a vicious cycle. Zion would bulk up to rehab his injuries, only to be slammed for looking sluggish. Then he tried to trim down too quickly, risking more strain. The pressure wasn't just physical, It was psychological. The world wasn't watching to see if he'd succeed anymore. They were waiting to see if he'd fail. And when you're fighting your own body, your teammates' expectations, and the media circus all at once, it's not just about healing anymore. It's about survival. And yet, even with all of the injuries, all the conditioning drama, Zion still had moments that reminded everyone why he was supposed to be the guy. Take early 2025 for example. He dropped 29 points in a playoff level clash against the Cavaliers, moving like the Zion of old, bulldozing through defenders, finishing with finesse. For a moment, it felt like the comeback story was writing itself. But just as fast as he rose, he vanished again. A hamstring strain took him out again. Then came the flashes of brilliance, 2 triple-doubles in a single month. Fans started to believe, was this finally the version of Zion who could stay healthy, lead the team, and silence the doubters? But by the season's end, the numbers told a familiar story. Just 30 games played, no deep playoff run, no consistent rhythm. Just another year of start, stop, and speculation. And the paradox that defines Zion's career: unreal talent, unreal inconsistency. One night, he looks like he's the most dominant player on the planet. Next, he's in street clothes, on the bench again. And it's not just disappointing, it's disorientating. How do you build a legacy when you keep disappearing before the story can begin? But Zion's story didn't just unravel on the court. It started collapsing off of it too. After a string of uneven seasons, the Pelicans still doubled down, offering him a $197 million contract extension in 2022. On paper, it looked like a vote of confidence, but buried in the fine print were conditions that raised eyebrows. Zion had to maintain a specific weight and body fat percentage, and his salary could be reduced if he didn't meet the marks. In other words, it wasn't just a contract, it was a warning label. This so-called trial by contract didn't just protect the team, it also subtly broadcasted doubt about his reliability, his discipline, and even his future. It quietly tanked his trade value and publicly signaled Zion might be more liability than asset. Then came May 2025. Zion was hit with a civil lawsuit alleging serious misconduct, a scandal that exploded across social media and sports outlets. Whether proven or not, the damage was already done. His name was now tied to more than injuries and conditioning. It was now tied to a controversy. And suddenly, the question wasn't, can he live up to the hype? It became, can he survive it? Zion's downfall wasn't just injuries or bad press. It was a perfect storm. Chronic setbacks, public scrutiny, and internal pressure broke down his body and confidence. Add a lawsuit, weight clauses, and media noise, and the cracks widened. Still, one truth remains. When healthy, Zion Williamson can absolutely hoop. The flashes are unforgettable. When he's healthy, he bulldozes defenders like they're cardboard cutouts, finishes at the rim like a wrecking ball with a soft touch, and lights up arenas like few others can. Those glimpses, they're not imaginary, they're real. But so are the injuries, so are the missed seasons, and so is the ever-growing shadow of what could have been. Now the Pelicans are stuck in limbo. Trade rumors swirl constantly. Some believe a fresh start could save his career. Others think that his best years are already behind him. The truth? Nobody really knows. Not Zion, not the fans, not even the front office. But maybe the bigger story here isn't about one player. Maybe Zion's story exposes a deeper flaw in the system. How we turn a young athlete into a brand, then tear them down and apart when their bodies falter. How contracts try to micromanage health, how hype becomes pressure, and how the spotlight often burns brighter than it illuminates. So what's next for Zion? A comeback? A trade? A fade out? Whatever happens, one thing's for sure. His legacy won't be defined by stats alone, but by the war between potential and reality.